3, 2, 1. Okay, so welcome back to another episode of what do we go with?
Team Sessa Talks.
Team Sessa Talks. Okay, sorry to everyone that commented. We had some great comments with names, but we will go
Hey
with
folks
Team
is a good name.
Hey folks.
Or
We had
folks.
real estate folklores. We had folks questions. I like folks questions. We'll call
Yeah, I
we'll call
kinda
this
do
one
that too.
this one today folks questions. So welcome back to Folks Questions, where we answer your questions, your real estate questions, your comments that you leave on the videos. We're back, and yeah, let's get right into it.
Let's get into it.
This is gonna be it's a loaded question.
Oh,
So, what is the primary factor contributing to the housing bubble?
the primary factor.
Primary factor.
There's a whole conversation around if this is a bubble or not a bubble. I'm not going to get into. I'm just going to assume that he's calling it a bubble because prices are high. And I don't want to get technical with this answer, but just because prices are high technically doesn't mean we're in a bubble. But a quick, short answer to this is, in my opinion, supply and demand. It's buyers would prefer to pay less, but they're not, and they're going to pay what's out there. Prices have trended down because there's been, pressures on both buyers for affordability and sellers as far as buyers not buying, which boils down to affordability. But buyers are buying and sellers are selling, and the prices are where they are, and it doesn't look like it's going to really change that much quickly.
Okay, so next question is from Pilot Girl 5953, and she says, does an offer to buy conditional on selling your home not work in Toronto? I plan to do this, however, selling in London and buying in Edmonton, Alberta. Good vid.
Pilot Girl. What Pilot Girl's talking about is having a condition when you're buying, saying, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, I will buy your house on condition I sell my house. And there's a time limit allowing the buyer to sell their property. This naturally is very safe for the buyer, that if they don't sell their house within a certain time limit, then they don't have to follow through with the purchase. This is not a great condition for the seller because they think they're sold, but this goes far beyond than like 5 business days for financing or home condition. This is normally 1 or 2 months. And so it ties the home up for all this time, and the seller really never knows if it's sold. Now, part of this condition, though, is that in that time period, the property for sale is still being showed. And if another offer comes in, it's called an escape clause. If another offer comes in, then the seller can accept that what the seller would deem to be, in their opinion, a better offer, and give the first buyer the right of first refusal. Sometimes they'll have, say, 48 hours to firm up, or the seller will sell it to somebody else. The real question is, doesn't that work in Toronto? No, it doesn't work in Toronto, because if that buyer doesn't buy it, the next buyer will. Yeah. We're not in a super heavy declining buyer's market. It's balanced or sellers, and why should the seller accept that condition in the GTA? They don't need to. So if that buyer doesn't buy it, wait another few minutes, there'll be another buyer. And that's the only reason it doesn't work here, because the sellers don't need to have that condition. They can choose. Sellers are choosing not to take financing or home inspection conditions in many cases. They prefer a firm offer. So a condition on selling your home really works in markets where sellers have a hard time selling, or specific properties that are very, very difficult to sell. So the seller will take something instead of nothing.
Yeah, I've seen it on a few properties
but they're hard to sell properties
in the GTA, and it usually has been that the home has been on the market for X amount of months, not moving, and then they finally receive an offer, but no seller likes to take that because, again, it does tie up the home for so long.
Yeah, and they don't have to take it here in Toronto. Other markets, maybe so, not here.
So next question here is from Dove Lab. And they say, the condo industry is a scam. Don't buy condos. Property management bring their contractors for their jobs and they split the pie. The end result is continuous higher maintenance fees. What do you have to say about that?
The whole so I have an issue with, and it's not with this comment, but just in general, I have an issue with anybody that takes one situation and projects it that's the same for everybody all the time, everywhere. And it's not the case. So it is so true what you said in your comment that condo managers have sourced out projects and work to their buddies and friends and people that they get kickbacks for, which brings up overall maintenance fees for everybody, and the condo manager is profiting from that. For sure that's happening, but it's not every condo, and it's something that there's lots of people living in their condos that are extremely happy, that love where they are. The building is managed properly, everything is the way it's supposed to be. So they're not, is they all scams? No. Condo might not be for you, but there's a buyer for that condo, and they're going to love it, and they're going to live there, raise their family, and be happy. And others, not so much. It's personal preference whether you enjoy the condo life or not.
Next question here, or next comment actually, is from user-EC4HH. So on
Thank you
and so
for your
forth.
comment.
So they commented here, and they actually got 8 likes on this comment. So a few
Okay.
people agree. So let's see what you think about it.
You got me in suspense.
Buying a house now is like bidding on eBay. Bid only at the last minute. It is a game now. People hiding their hands.
How does bidding at the last minute help? In most cases, you're not going to know what the highest bid is. So the only advantage is you know how many other offers are there. So that could affect the price you go in at.
Mhm.
We just had a successful multi-bid situation on one of our listings. We had one offer, and we didn't set it up for offer night.
Yeah.
But we had one offer, then another one came in at the same time, and then a third person, an agent, she called me and was talking to me about, Santo, when are you reviewing those offers? My client is just preparing, we're getting ready to put in an offer. Do we have time? And I said, look, if you tell me for sure you're going to be putting an offer in, then we'll hold off making a decision. But understand, we're not going to go back and forth with you. You already know there's 2 offers, so come in with your best number and we'll make a decision, or our seller will make a decision. So that's the only real advantage. And turns out she's the one who got the house. She came in stronger, but she knew there were 2 other offers. But we did give the other 2 offers a chance to improve on theirs, and they did the best they could. So that's really the only advantage in waiting. You know how many other offers there are, but it's not really an advantage. You could start off low and 10 other offers can come in after you, and then you could adjust your number also. So I don't get the advantage to waiting, because you don't know. In most cases, you won't know the contents of the other offer. You won't know the amount. So I don't get it.
I think eBay is definitely much more transparent in terms of much more transparent process.
We talk about, bidding is like an auction process. Only if you're referring to a closed auction where you don't know what the other bids are, because it's not like, 150, can I get more? Can I get 200? It's not like that.
Your next comment, this is quite a long comment, and he usually leaves some pretty insightful comments in our comment section, but it's from R. Defacendis, and he says, the interesting question / phenomena is how people are qualifying for these high-priced properties. I suspect there are a lot of baby boomers are putting their retirement plans at significant risk by gifting, lending their 30-something kids with hundreds of thousands of dollars in cash, or to generate a significant down payment. For the move-up buyers, they are taking out enormous mortgages to finance that move-up purchase, hoping and praying that rates come down. It might be a bad bet. The talk now is that the neutral rate is going to land much higher than it was 5 years ago. The world's economy is shifting, reshoring, etc., and we are aging as a country. Rates will settle at a much higher level.
There's a lot of different angles to this question, or a lot of things I could talk about. I don't want to get into predicting the future, a lot of what you say, I would consider fact. I mean, it's true. As far as interest rates, I would say are probably not going to be ultra low like we saw a few years ago. I think they're going to be more mid-level, probably closer to where they are now. But that's personal opinion. As far as the baby boomers helping their kids and either putting their retirement in jeopardy or move up buyers, well, look, don't underestimate how much wealth has been accumulated in real estate over the years. I would say if someone is approaching retirement and they help their kid out and put their retirement in jeopardy, I would say that would be the exception, not always the rule. Most people, I believe, are acting in a smart way. So if you're in a position to help your child, congratulations, good for you. Doesn't every parent want to be able to help their child if they can? So, but if you're putting their retirement in jeopardy, they probably didn't do it the right way. So that's probably a mistake, but they want to help their kids out. As far as people taking on big mortgages, that's a financial problem. You got to be careful for that, you know. The generation today seems to want everything all at once, doesn't want to wait for it. So yeah, they want the bigger house, but they also want the fancier car. And oh, by the way, we need to go on vacation 3 times a year. And how do we fit this new cottage that we bought into the picture? That's where, you know, people are making bad financial mistakes. And is it going to change? I hope it does. But people are going to make financial mistakes along the way. But I'm not sure how I could add more to that comment. But parents are going to help their kids, and people moving up, some of them are going to make mistakes, and many of them, the majority, are going to do it just right and have no issues. We hear about the minorities on our show. We don't talk about the thousands of people that are affording their mortgage payments. We talk about those few that are not.
The last question we'll do here, which is from Jack Simeon. He starts it off with a simple question. Who can afford these home prices, especially with the cost of food and goods going up? I make over $120,000 per year and don't care to jump into a mortgage payment with prices this high. Who can afford these prices? So who are we seeing that are buying?
If you're making $120,000 a year and you're on your own, you're going to have a hard time buying. But do you live at home paying no rent or little rent, or are you renting your own place? Is it you and a spouse, or you and a partner where that person also makes around $100,000 where you're now at $200,000? Do you have a down payment? All these things tie into it. It's really tough. It's also somebody's financial tolerance. Some people are okay sacrificing to make their mortgage payment, and because they see the value in home ownership, and other people, they're not so tolerant of that. They don't want to be, you know, house poor or struggle to do that. So that plays into it. But your question to me was, who do we see buying? I'm assuming this person is more along the lines of a first-time home buyer. So the first-time home buyers we're dealing with, in most cases, are a couple. Whether they're married or not, doesn't matter, but they're a couple. 2 of them are buying together. They both have jobs earning really well, over $100,000 each in most cases. We're seeing, and there's some high-paying jobs that weren't around when, you know, I was going to say a kid, but, you know, when I was in my 20s or 30s, coming out of school and starting at $100,000, $150,000, $200,000 was unheard of. These days, it's happening. There's lots of people in their mid-30s we have helped and are helping to buy currently that are earning $150,000, $250,000. They've been at their job for not years and just a few years, and straight out of the gate, these are the kind of jobs, especially in the IT field, a lot of these people are getting. So they have that income. They can carry the mortgage and state, although they have all sacrificed to be able to save their down payment, because nobody I know that we're helping that are first-time buyers have a fancy car. They just don't. Their priority was or is to buy a house first. So they don't have a fancy car. They definitely don't have a car each in most cases.
And a lot of them actually aren't necessarily getting gifted down payments either.
Yeah, some are, some aren't. You know, the majority that we're using are not getting gifted, I would say, gifted money for their down payment.
Yeah.
And if they are, it's not all of it. It's a little bit.
Yeah. So that ends our show for today. Thank you guys for all your comments.
Man, the time flew by, eh?
Yeah, it always
You know,
goes
a lot
fast.
of these comments, I'm glad that we're doing it this way, because on YouTube, when comments come in, some of them just warrant a little bit more discussion than just a quick, simple answer. So thank you for your comments, and we enjoy doing this.
Yes. Feel free to leave more comments. Maybe we'll pick yours to be on these episodes. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you, and we'll see you again soon.
Thank you.